which is fine. Go
Yes,
ahead.
but I'm saying that's why it differs, because I do understand there are some men that they use that to their advantage, but at the same time, I think that both parties just need to be more aware of what they're getting themselves into. I feel like SA has been experienced throughout women everywhere, and it's like, and sometimes it's not in our control. I understand that, but there's a lot of cases where I do feel like women need to look at ourselves and what position we're putting ourselves in. I'm not saying that it's just all our fault. I'm just saying that, in all these cases, it's not just blame the finger on men. You know what I mean? Blame the finger on you guys. 'Cause, we need to understand, whether we dress modest or not, men are going to have that natural desire to want us, plain and simple. So it's
There's
up to
always a
us,
low
and
level.
yeah,
There's
so
always
it's
a low
up to,
level of there's always a low level of attraction that exists, regardless of what a woman wears. And I think the reason women claim to not be appreciative of this, or they claim to be annoyed by it, they can't stand this, is in all actuality because they don't know what it feels like to not be noticed at all. And increasingly we're seeing a lot of videos with women that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. So, just breaking down and crying. Why won't somebody love me? Why won't somebody? It's because they're literally not being looked at. You're walking through your life not being seen anymore because you spent your entire, you know, attractive years, however long that period was, telling men you don't need them, and that it's SA or it's RAP3 if we have, so you've ward off all the men that they're just vigilant of being around you. Once again, we use a different word, not afraid, just vigilant. We don't want to be near you anymore. So even if it comes to protecting you, hell nah, because we don't know what the outcome may be. But yeah, man,
I feel like that ties into just women wanting to push push the agenda of becoming completely independent, which we most definitely need to get out of. I think that comes from generation curses, trauma, etc. The struggle that Black women have today, the struggle that everyone has today with, poverty and all that. Huh?
I think before generational curses and trauma, what comes before all that is just the plain decision. These women are out here. I would love to blame it on their grandmothers of old, but let most of these women tell it, they're just like the grandmothers of old. So at the end of the day, it's a personal choice. You're choosing to be this way. You're choosing to believe the things that are detrimental to men and about men, and they're choosing to dress and act the way they act. And for that reason, when it comes to things like this, they're listening and choosing to take for law those words of those men that tell them that, or those women that tell them that there's something so wrong or something so dangerous about. I still haven't yet to understand what's dangerous about a woman coming forward if she does. Whether
So
true or not true, what's
okay.
dangerous?
So yeah, I got you on that topic. I can most definitely understand that because, honestly, okay, if you just try your hardest to put your feet in another woman in my shoes or whatever. So say I did experience it and I knew that my family and the men in my family, if they figured out something about this, that it would cause the most chaotic event that I wouldn't want happening, right? I could have fear in my heart that, hey, if I speak up to this, especially with my loved ones, this could turn into a whole war. This could turn into something messy. Not only that, I could also fear of people calling me a liar. Not only that, I've seen women everywhere and they open up to men about, harassment, and the men had rejected them because they believe that, oh, since she's been through this, she has to act some type of way, or she's probably going to be a victim, or she's going to just act traumatized. So it's also like the image that's portrayed on people that are opening up about harassment. So I do feel like there are some fears that come with opening up about it publicly, based on other people's opinions and perspectives of how they may look at you or may treat you. But at the same time, that's something that you're going to have to battle or face. It's, do you want to speak about this and get people, informed about it? Or, it's kind of like oh my goodness. It's kind of like pick your battle. Pick your battle. Do you want to be quiet and heal from it and work within it, with yourself and try to see, why it happened the way it happened? Or do you want to, risk the chance of you publicly being criticized and talked about and judged? Or,
I'm saying that portion about risking, being criticized and talked about and judged, how much of a risk is that? That's like, there's literally no risk there. It affects nothing. Let's say people don't believe you.
Okay.
What does disbelief affect in a woman's life?
That I just open myself out and put one of a deep part of what I've been through in my life out. And it was for no reason because no one believed me anyway.
Where's the harm?
So what I'm trying to say is it's just like for men. You can probably relate to where when men open up about their feelings or emotions, etc., and then they get ignored or bullied or blase, then now men they don't want to open up no more. They don't want to share their opinions because of how they were treated.
But those are two different things, though. Ignored and bullied. Ignored and bullied are two different things.
Well, I'm saying that's those things.
And when it comes to men opening up, very often the bullied portion happens. Very seldomly the ignored portion happens. When it comes to women opening up, very seldomly does the abusing portion happen. The retaliation, but then and very often or very seldom does the ignoring portion happen. They get bullied most of the time.
But we're not. But
Cassie just came out, and not everyone believes her.
That's what I'm saying. Not
be for real.
Go back to the point that we were stating.
Cassie just came out. Nobody believes her, yet she received a settlement payment. So what?
But that's beside. Yes, I'm acknowledging she received a settlement payment.
So the point is regardless of whether or not she came out, whether it's true or not, she got rewarded. Nothing bad happened to her. That's the point.
The whole
there's
women see the comments about how people are scared for her life now because she came out.
There's women that have came out, and because people didn't believe her or thought that she made it up, that she gets threatened because if say in the case a woman does make it up and it's not true, that also affects the man. That makes him a victim of being lied on.
Whether it's true or not, it affects the man.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Whether it's true or not doesn't affect the woman.
So why don't you think that? Why don't you think it affects
the
woman? Why don't you think it affects the woman?
Tell me how. I'm trying to figure. Cassie came out. It was not proven that he was guilty.
I didn't bring up Cassie.
I know. I'm just using her because she just brought her up. But she came out. It was not proven that he was guilty or not guilty of these crimes. She still received a payout.
She received hush money.
Amber Heard came out.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is all money good? Is all money good money?
Name some money that's bad money. Yeah, hell yeah, all money good money. Fuck yeah.
All money is not good money, sir.
Amber Heard came out. And it was proven that she was lying, and she still ain't served no jail time. I'm trying to figure out, what did she lose in that equation? What did Amber Heard lose? She was still allowed to play in the damn movie. Like, she got rewarded in every way possible. She didn't lose shit.
Let me say this aside from the Cassie analogy, because let's talk about real life and reality. When women come out, there's often times that they are chastised. They are shunned from their communities. People look at them differently.
No, there's not.
You're not letting me speak. No, you're not going to talk over me. That's what we're not going to do. I wasn't done talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. My bad. Go ahead.
I wasn't done talking.
No, you're not going to talk over me. I understand how this shit run. I know you thought for a minute you had somebody there like you was going to tell me what the fuck was going on. I understand this what you ain't going to do over here. That's what you going to understand. It ain't what you think you going to run in over. Nah, that ain't how that shit go. Yeah, understand that. I know you thought you had one. Yeah, you're not gonna talk over me. That's how this is gonna. Yeah, you got the wrong one. Got me fucked up. Yeah, what's going on, Jesse?
What's going on? I just want to say, I'm just trying to understand everybody, and everyone got their own opinions. And it sounds like, there are some points being made that the emotional harm is kind of valid. Like when it comes to both sides,
What
men
emotional
and,
harm is a woman going through by telling the proper authorities that something happened to her?
well,
What
her,
emotional harm is she going through?
her security is put in harm.
Her security is put in harm. You can report that anonymously. How is her security put in harm?
I mean, all right, let's say she does it anonymously. How does that help, her in that situation? Does she get a payout or she get a cash check?
You said what?
Does she get a payout?
Hold on real quick. Don't move. Damn, y'all got rid of it that fast? I understand, moderators. Y'all right. I'm gonna stop. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to make the point and kind of ask these questions. If she does it anonymously, she doesn't get a payout. But if she does get a payout, she has to put herself at risk of losing her security, people going after her in some sense, not in all sense, but in some sense.
You can get a payout and be anonymous.
I mean,
You can most certainly get a payout and be anonymous. That chick that the coach cheated on, the Boston's head coach cheated on before he got fired. She anonymous. Did she get paid out?
I mean, some people know someone had to pay her.
Understand this. When it comes to a false accusation and something like that, if you get to keep your job, I still consider that a payout.
Okay.
Because when an accusation happens, typically, if it's true, you're gonna lose your shit. So if it doesn't happen, if it's alleged it happens, and it's proven that it did take place, then the person that's accused doesn't lose everything. She was accused right along with him. She didn't get exposed, and she got to keep her job. He got fired.
See, in that case, I would say, yeah, I would have to agree with you. It hurt the man more than it hurt her. But in some cases, I can see it hurting the female more than it hurts the man, especially if she's not believed by, her family and the population.
Yeah, I mean, listen. What does it take for you to believe somebody?
I would have to say some kind of some evidence.
I would say so too. I think that evidence and proof is the way we prosecute. And if we don't have that or the burden of proof, then every woman walking around here with a story. That's why I said I feel like the term essay is aloof. It's made and meant for confusion. It's meant so that women can claim that they are victims of things that really they are hardly victims of.
I agree with you that in some cases it's fluffed up and maybe some women have figured out a way to take advantage of it. But I don't want to take away.
That's why I say most women haven't been essayed. I only recognize RAP3 as a form of essay. I don't recognize whatever else they can classify as essay, because you start getting sticky with shit like that. Like the woman a minute ago said, if somebody is sex, they couldn't consent to, and you should prosecute the person that was sober in that situation, regardless of whether or not that person was given consent or not. Just prosecute them because they were the sober person in the drunk sex fling, and because they were sober, they were the only ones that could consent. That's crazy.
I agree with you there. I don't think anyone should be prosecuted over consensual sex, even if one is drunk, especially if they both consented.
The only problem with like Chili, she talking about 1 in 3 women have been essayed. That's a statistic. Ask the women in your family. Women in my family don't even bear that statistic out. But secondly, the women in my family, the first time I asked them that question, the first thing they asked me is what you mean by essayed? Like some dude grabbing my tail. I don't consider that essay. I don't consider none of that essay. They have a very conservative view on what essay is. But yeah, 1 in 3 women, the reason you can get a 1 in 3 statistic like that is because you consider damn near everything to be SA. By that definition, everybody's been SA'd and everybody is an SA'er as well. If you've ever had sex with a man that was intoxicated and you weren't, you RAP3 or SA'd that man now? That's what you're saying. Like, by saying SA is that broad of a definition, to include all of these things, everybody's a victim and everybody's a perpetrator.
In that definition, right. The statistics could look skewed that way.
And the only definition that we have, that we don't have a clear cut concrete definition. So 1 in 4 women and 1 in 26 men means nothing. You're talking about SA. What does that even mean?
It doesn't mean much
actually-
in that sense.
Right, been essayed for someone has attempted essay. Yeah, you can keep quoting all these statistics. They mean nothing because what does it mean to be essayed? At the end of the day, you're running a poll based upon the most objective standard of what something can be considered as sexual violence. That's the most objective standard ever. Because somebody was intoxicated, they couldn't consent. So if I said yes before I got intoxicated, and then I began to drink and got intoxicated and decided I want to have sex now, I still got RAP3?
No.
But I thought if you were intoxicated, you couldn't consent. So now, in order to decipher that, you have to add in continual consent now, right? So I can say yes before I start drinking, but then when I start drinking, I got to say yes again, and then I got to say yes after that. Okay, so when does that continual consent stop? And one would be inclined to say it never does. They have the right to say stop whenever they want to. Okay, so stop. How long is that word? Well, stop as a word ends after you pronounce the P. So if I say stop, anything that continues after that last enunciation of that word means I'm RAP3 in somebody. Nobody could even stop that fast. If you're in the middle of having sex, we know how sex goes. It's a rather continual in and out process, right? And you say stop. That amount of time was still the amount of time that I went after stop. Literally. So how do you determine whether or not that's RAP3? Did they stop right when you asked them to? Did they get 1 or 2 more pumps or grinds in? Because, women can do this shit too. How do you determine whether or not they stopped when you asked them to?
I mean, that's case by case, to be honest.
Exactly.
That's a tough one because it may not just be penetration. It could be something else.
But they think they really want that. You really want to act as though you want to live in a society that's this harsh on male and female sexual interactions. Okay. It's not going to help you out at all.
I mean, in my personal case, I can say that my mother shared with me a story that she was raped by my father, which was, something that I was mind blown to hear after.
Hold on, Jesse, real quick. I don't want to hear you. I don't want your anecdotes. Hold on real quick. So how you going to make the assertion that somebody don't care about something? How would you know?
I'm saying if your whole mindset in this topic is how you going to know, I feel like you're already not caring about how to know.
How does that make any sense?
When a man comes at it with the mindset of, I really care to know what a woman's comfort level is and when it's not okay, he talks differently.
What does that even mean?
So I've encountered men who have a heart to actually understand when, why the essay is happening, when it's happening, how it's happening, but they approach it with a very gentle spirit versus proving a point.
Gentle how and proving a point how?
So if we're talking about SA, we're talking about a woman. Well, I'm even going to say men because men have probably experienced this too. So I'm not even going to make it gender. The person, the individual has experienced something that is very traumatic. When the individual...
Allegedly.
No, they have experienced something to their person that has been traumatic. When they say they have been essayed, they have experienced something traumatic.
Allegedly.
No, they're telling you they've experienced it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying allegedly, because that's all they're doing is telling me.
And that's all that should matter is how the person feels.
I'm sorry. You just said the only thing that should matter is how a person feels?
Yeah, if a person is coming to you with, whether it's male or female, saying they have been essayed, we should be taking that from the perspective of making sure that that person is okay. They're coming at us with a sense of abuse.
So hypothetically speaking, somebody coming to me and they say, I've been essayed. Mm-hmm. And based upon how I respond, that determines whether or not that person feels okay.
No, I'm saying that when somebody comes to us in confidence about an experience, we should be coming at that with some kind of like a gentle approach, because that person has experienced something that either we've never experienced or we have experienced, and it's a very grave subject matter.
What is gentle, and what does a gentle approach look like?
Empathy.
Empathy, meaning what?
Putting yourself in that person's shoes and trying to experience what they've experienced.
Why would any person do that? Why would I try to put myself in the shoes of a person that has allegedly been RAP3'd?
To understand their pain.
So why do I need to understand their pain? For what reason? I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose in understanding their pain?
Empathy is the strongest, most powerful form of human interaction in which we can try to understand each other.
So strong that it'll catch the perpetrator?
I'm sorry, what?
So strong that it'll catch the perpetrator?
I don't think that empathy has a goal other than to understand the victim.
Right. So you're saying that a person that is not empathetic, which I want you to also explain how it looks for a person to be empathetic, but you're saying a person that's not empathetic can't understand. Is that what you're saying?
I think that empathy is the heart and the starting point for us to understand other human experiences, yes. So like we should all be growing in that area.
So to understand that a person has been RAP3'd, and the intricate details that they might espouse while telling this story, I need to feel like it's happened to me to understand that?
No, I meant that in a case, that's a good question. I meant that more in a case like if you're hearing these things from, let's just, I have to put a scenario out there because I'm kind of a visual like person. So like, let's say that a person you knew, a friend, family member came to you with this story. What my point is that we should start from a place of empathy because this person is hurt. I don't want to start from it as you are making a false assumption, your facts are not straight and I don't understand you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to.
But you're saying starting from a place of empathy is doing what now?
Is helping them feel understood and validated in their experience.
Understood and validated. These are two separate words. Understood is in what you're telling me I understand.
You're saying that you understand, hopefully, yes.
Okay, so in order to express this empathy or how we should say that we understand what they're saying.
Only if you do. If you don't, then I don't think you should give them a false narrative, no.
Okay, so but understand to what capacity? If it's never happened to me, can I understand it from the experience capacity?
Definitely not. But you can definitely try to understand the person or where they're coming from. You can't necessarily experience it yourself. No, I mean, especially in like even the percentages, women are experiencing this more than men. So most men probably can't.
No, women are not. But
I mean, they are, sir. It's statistically proven.
I mean, they're not, ma'am. It's statistically proven. But just
women
because
are definitely essayed more than men. What are you talking
women
about?
are definitely not, because you like to exclude the prison population, and overwhelmingly it happens more to men. What are you talking about?
Oh, I definitely think it happens in prison. I wasn't.
No, not even think it happens in prison. If we include the people that are in prison, because those are also people, it happens exclusively more so to men.
Sir, because there's not like the majority of American citizens are not locked up.
You don't have to have the majority of American citizens locked up for it to be a crime that happens more to men.
Most women are free, right? They're not locked up. So therefore, when you talk about the scenario of what's happening to women, that case is going to be a larger number than who's locked up by the fact that more people are free than who are locked up.
Most men are free. We're talking about percentage wise. If you add the percentages of how often it happens in prison with how often it happens out of prison, and how you add the percentages of how often it happens in prison and out of prison to women, it happens more to men, period.
No, because I would say that 90% of women I've talked to have been essayed in freedom.
Of course, 90% of the women you've been talked to have been essayed. How many have you seen proof on?
I mean, I'm one of them. So.
How many have you seen proof on?
I wasn't there when it happened. What do you mean?
So 90% of the women have told that you know that have been essayed, have told you they've been essayed, and yet you've seen 0% of the proof.
So we're all sitting around watching each other be essayed. Like even men, you could say that that's not true.
I don't know, but you all, but I do know that the majority of you all are all sitting around telling stories of SA.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you just said 90% of the women you know.
Because and on a daily basis, even when I go to the freaking grocery store, I am definitely have to watch my back. I've had situations where men have actually put their hands on me in a Walgreens. Like, that's a very normal concept for women to experience. I don't think you guys can say that a woman walks into you in a Walgreens house.
Put his hands on you in a Walgreens house. Put his hands on you in a Walgreens house.
He rubbed his member against my booty. Is that allowed to say on TikTok?
Well, you said hands, so no. Now
I'm saying this particular instance, which is one of actually several. The man rubbed his body up against me, and I was literally looking for granola bars in an aisle for my kids.
Okay, how large was the man? How
large
was the Yeah, like how widthwise was the aisle? How large was he? Where were you? Like, placing and all this shit matters. What you saying that this happened?
Everybody's been into a Kroger.
You're classifying this as SA, is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
All right, what'd you do about it?
What did I do? I stood there in shock and addressed the man.
Because you were scared.
No, I literally made him accountable for his actions. I can say, because I have other people involved in a public setting, I can say, sir, that is not appropriate.
You said that was, we've been to Kroger.
Are we coming at this with validating a woman?
Kroger has armed security. Why y'all do that? Nah, man, hold on. Kroger has armed security, so I'm trying to figure out why you ain't just go to the armed security member. That's what I'm trying to understand. You were so afraid that you decided by yourself to deal with this predatory man. I don't understand. I don't know who removed her. Moderators, I don't know who did that. Yeah, but I don't, okay. I mean, and if she said it happened at Walgreens, I'm just, where is this population of men? Well, I want to know what he looked like. How tall was he? How tall is she? I just want to know. I have so many questions. I mean, since we're going, and I guess this is what she's saying. You just got kicked off. Well, here, moderators, hold on. So I'm trying to figure out what else happened. How tall was he?
Can't leave. I literally got kicked off. I don't know what I said, but
how tall was he?
I don't think height matters. A man touched me in an appropriate way.
Height matters. How tall was he?
No, I did not measure him, sir. I was not. I didn't have my tape measure with me at Walgreens.
You can't look at somebody and see about how tall somebody is?
I would guess around 5'10", 11.
5'10", 11. So you about 2 or 3 inches shorter than me. How tall are you?
5'5".
5'5". And you were bending down when you were getting this granola bar?
No, sir.
You said you were?
No.
You were standing straight up?
Of course.
And at your 5'5" stature, your ass is at his 5'10", 5'11" stature at his genital height, is what you're telling me?
So if he rubbed his genitals on my kneecaps, would that be appropriate, sir?
I'm just saying, in order to get him on your kneecaps.
No, but would that be appropriate, sir?
I'm just saying, in order to get him on your kneecaps,
it would take... He rubbed his genitals on my body, sir.
If it were to get him on your kneecap, I'm saying it would take hell of a contortionist. He'd probably have to move and search.
Well, I'm just saying, regardless of where he put his genitals, sir, it was on...
Just a minute ago, it wasn't regardless. Just a minute ago, you told us exactly where it happened, which was on your backside. That was the word you used. Now, all of a sudden, it's regardless. I'm just trying to understand. You see, now, I guess that was me not being empathetic, but I'm just trying to put some portions of the story together that just don't make sense. You didn't clock how tall he was, but yet his 5'10" Johnson hit your 5'5" little ass. I'm just saying, these two parts of the body don't even measure up. From a side, from a height standpoint, for that to even happen, especially not if you was bending down to get some granola, which you said you wasn't. Okay, fine. Then it don't make sense how these two portions of the body would have met up. I mean, unless he dropped down and got his eagle on. I mean, is that how he did it behind you? Please tell me. I'm trying to figure out. I didn't mute you. Moderator, stop. Don't drop. Don't drop this because I'm trying to understand just how this happened. You said that it was the body. You said it was a certain portion of his body on a certain portion of your body. Then you said it doesn't matter when, and I'm just trying to figure out why it don't matter all of a sudden now. Nobody dropped her, so she just dropped out herself, or what? What happened? If she can come back up, I sent the invite. I'll send it again. I sent the invite. Nikki, Nick.
It's okay, and literally, like every time, like stop dropping me if you want the answers. I'm not going to come up again if you're going to.
I didn't drop you.
Well, whoever is on the panel is whoever's on your site is dropping me, and I don't appreciate that. If you're trying to ask me questions, you can hear, and why do I have to keep re-entering, right?
Yeah, sure.
But back to the question about the genitals thing, like regardless of if it was on my shoulder, my nose, my knees, or my toes, sir, if a man rubs his body on me in a public setting when I have not asked for it or given him permission, it is inappropriate. Just like if a woman took her.
So let me just make sure I understand this correctly.
In a freaking Walmart,
let me just make sure I understand this. Let me just make sure I understand this. So it doesn't matter where on your body it is. The body itself is not the entire body is considered a sexual portion. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know you, sir. You are not allowed to
just
touch
answer that question though, because you said it doesn't matter where.
Yes,
it could be a toe.
that's personal space, man or woman. It's not a gender thing. I would not come up and pull your hair. Right?
I don't know what you would do. I've never.
But
met
I'm saying I wouldn't come up to you at a Walgreens and pull your hair, touch your nose, give you a kiss, touch your shoulders. Like that's personal space. You don't do that to people. Like I said, I wouldn't. I don't know. That depends on who. But I don't know what you would do or what anybody would do. I just know genitals, sir, is a private area. Last I checked, and you don't rub them on people. Well, that's odd because just a minute ago you said the entire body is sexual. I'm saying what he rubbed his genitals on doesn't matter. He rubbed his genitals on my body. Yeah, I just don't. I don't. It just doesn't make much sense to me. So I'm sitting here lying to you just for fun. I don't know. I wasn't there. Like I said, I don't know. Exactly. You're coming at it at a point that people are lying to you. Therefore, you cannot understand because you're assuming women are making these stories up. And it is like you can't ever come at an understanding from them because you're going to call them liars regardless. Oh, I didn't. Well, I didn't never call you a liar, though. You did. You just said, I don't know if it's true. Yeah, that doesn't mean that I called you a liar, though. You're assuming I'm just sitting up here telling stories about this. I'm assuming any person can lie. I'm not assuming you're lying or telling the truth. So naturally, when I don't have all of the evidence, all of the puzzle pieces, as it were, to an equation, I have a tendency to do some deductive reasoning. I have a tendency to dig a little bit to find out whether the truth is true or not. And inside of the story that you gave us just doesn't sound very plausible. I'm not saying that you're lying, but it just doesn't sound like much of a truth because of just the logistics of how the body parts of somebody 5'10" or 5'11" would line up with the body parts of somebody 5'5". No, I'm not talking about where it hit me. I'm talking about the fact that somebody touched me with their genitals in a store. Yeah. Well, why does it matter where they put them? Your claim was that he rubbed them up against your backside. The backside of my body. Yeah, that wasn't the claim that you made. Yeah, it was. I was looking at an aisle. A man came up behind me with his genitals, rubbed them up against me, and then proceeded to look at me and say, "Hey, girl, what you doing tonight?" He said, "Hey, girl, what you doing tonight?" Yes, sir, he did. Right. Okay, so you said the backside of your body. First of all, I don't even know anybody that talks like this. He had a porno mustache, and he was born in like the 1910s. Who says that? But anyway, he didn't have a mustache. He was an African American man who rubbed up against. He was my age. I'm sure he was. You know his age? He was my age. Yeah, around my age. You knew his age, but you didn't know his height. Middle-aged. Around 30s, 40s. I told you his height, 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", somewhere right above me. All right. And then you said he rubbed his genitals on your backside. Yes. Like your shoulder blade or like your calf muscle? Well, he's not tall enough to rub it on my shoulder blades unless I'm on my knees, sir. So my legs and ass. So he put his Johnson across... Because I have a big booty and it is commented all the time that is something that is noticed. Okay, cool. But you don't have the right to rub against it if you don't know me.
He put his Johnson from your ass to the
Made it
bottom.
as clear as I can make it. I feel like you're trying to twist it, and that's fine, sir.
I'm just trying to make sure either he had to be the most hung dude on earth for his Johnson to hit both of these places at the same time.
Both of these places?
Yeah, your ass and the back of your legs is two different places.
I said my backside. When someone is in shock and not expecting something, they might not remember the square footage of where something hit them.
I think they would remember.
No, sir,
at least
they
the
would
body.
not. They're called a victim of something that
I
was
think they
out
would-
of.
Excuse me. I think they would remember maybe not the square footage, but at least the body part. And you said on your back side. Where on your back side? If we're gonna call this side of your body the back, like where? The back of your head, your shoulder blades, the lower back, your middle back, your upper back, your ass, your hamstrings, your calf muscles, or your heel. I think you would remember. Hey, what the fuck? Come on, man. Come on, y'all. I was just getting into. It just didn't sound very plausible to me. I don't understand how somebody with your Johnson hits the back side of ass and the back of your legs, and I just don't understand how boy was swinging, wasn't he? He had it right. The top hit the ass, and hit the bottom of the Johnson hit your heel. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say I disagree with what you're saying. But I'm gonna come to in a different perspective because of this is what I've seen. I'm in the military, Navy life, all this kind of life. I've seen it happen a lot where our chain of commands don't necessarily side with the women, and our chain of command just kind of look at them sideways, or they cover for the guy. So I think your perspective is very different from like what you would see.
Or you've seen your chain of command side with proof and evidence. It's odd how you look at it.
I've seen my chain of command side with.
It's odd. It's odd how you.
You're not in the military.
It's odd how you look at it as.
Can you?
Chain of command sides not with women as opposed to siding with.
Have you ever been in the military though?
I don't need to be in the military to know how evidence works.
Have you ever been in the military?
I don't need to be in the military to
But you do, because you don't know how military politics work.
No, you don't. You don't need to be in the military to understand how evidence.
But you don't know how it works.
We're not talking about politics, though. I'm talking about evidence, and evidence works the same way regardless of where you are.
Yeah, we're talking about in the military. Our laws and the way we work are very different from how it works in the civilian world, and you would know that if you were in the Navy.
No, they're not.
You would know that if you're in the military. So let me go ahead and
give me a law that works differently.
Finish what I was saying. Thank you very much.
Okay, settle down. Give me a law that works differently in the military than it does in for civilian population. Give me a law that works that way. I mean, since you were in the military, since I'm not in the military, okay, were you in the military? If you were in the military, you could tell me, right? So tell me a law that works differently in the military than it does outside of the military. And while you're at it, tell me one that works differently.
Are you going to let me talk though?
Are you going to answer the question?
Are you done?
Are you going to answer the question?
Okay, but are you going to let me talk and not talk over me? Okay, thank you. So what you don't understand about the military is when it comes to men and women, they side with the guy. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Y'all see what my hands at?
Let me finish.
All right, so when it happened.
Stop talking, please.
Y'all
Stop talking so I can finish. Thank you very much.
So y'all see when it happened.
Are you done?
Y'all see. All right, now look. Y'all see what my hands was, okay? So y'all know good and damn well that wasn't me, right? Well, who the fuck she thinks she talking to, but y'all see what my hands was at, right? The whole time now. So y'all can't say Moses dropped somebody. Y'all can't say that. Y'all see what my hands was at the whole time. She thought she was just gonna talk to somebody. I didn't call her, but you see, okay, I didn't do it. I didn't do that. Okay? It wasn't me. I didn't do nothing. To you
to have a conversation like normal adults?
It's your tone.
Hello?
Your tone, the way you talking right now, your tone. That
It's my tone, but it's also your tone.
ain't nothing wrong with my
It's
tone.
also your tone, though. There is something wrong with your tone. You keep talking over me.
Y'all see my hands, right? Y'all
Are we gonna have a normal adult conversation? Cool. Here we go. Here we go. As a woman who's in the military, the politics and the way we do things looks very different from the civilian world. And here's why I say that. When you're qualified, when you work hard, when you're in a male-dominated branch, this is what happens. We tell them we are being assaulted. We are being sexually assaulted.
All right, y'all couldn't see my hands on that one because it was me. It was me. The reason it was me though is because first of all, she clearly she didn't understand how this shit worked. But that aside, she didn't answer the question. My question to her was, name one law that's different in the military than outside the military. All I'm asking for is a law. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I asked her for. And then she can go back to explaining whatever she wanted to explain, saying whatever else she wanted to say. All I asked was give me a law that's different in the military and out the military. That's all I asked for. Then she can go ahead with, but apparently she's under the impression that this is supposed to work how she wanted to work. And she gonna tell everybody what they're gonna... I don't know if she got the memo. You know what? Mama Buns is here. She can give you the memo though. Hey, Mama Buns, how you doing? I'm gonna sit down.
What's up, everybody? Good job. That is an S. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome on into the day, and I'm so glad to have you here. You guys, make sure y'all are tapping that screen. It'll be greatly appreciated with 438 people in here. If everybody sends $1 to $ Moses THA Profit 2020, it'll be $437 in the Cash App today, and we would have reached our goal today. Also, if you could and if you would, please hit that share button. We got 24 shares, and we would love to see that 50 by the top of the hour. It doesn't take that long to send to 15 people, so that'd be greatly appreciated. Also, hold on, baby. Also, if you are in the comments, please remain respectful. It would be greatly appreciated because disagreement is accepted, disrespect is booted and muted. Also, if you are in the box, please maintain a respectful tone as well as a respectful conversation. We ain't having it. We ain't taking it. You wouldn't want it to happen to you, so please don't allow it to happen to somebody else. Also, if you get into the box and we let you up and somebody's already in the box, please ensure that you are muting your microphone. Okay, just so we can get this together, be mindful of the prompt that is there. This is a very, 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 very triggering topic to most, if not all, people who come into this space. If you do not feel like this is a place for you, please just step back and not comment or step out if this is a place where you're going to get triggered, because you control the space that feels safe for you, not us, because this is our house. So you control your safe space. So tap the screen, share the live. Moses THA Profit 2020. $1 would be greatly appreciated. Disrespect is muted and booted. Thank you so much. Oh, and if you see somebody that comes into the box that does not have any coins, make sure you gift them even one rose. It'll be greatly appreciated. All right. I love you guys. I'll see y'all again. Make sure y'all be breezy.
Listen, real quick, heavy on the Cash App today, y'all. It's we out here. Come on, y'all. Now this right here, this ain't it. This ain't it. I don't want to have to cut a show, but I'll cut a show, bro. This ain't it. Cash App, man. Y'all get it up and y'all get it up. It's Friday, man. Everybody has at least $1. All right, let's make that happen. Go ahead. What's going on?
Or is it like? Because it's like it's early right now, so my voice is a little bit scratchy. But
Okay.
Anyway, so this topic is interesting. So I feel like I see where you're coming from. So at the same time, you know, this is something I've been through. And when it comes to, I would agree that if you have never had this happen to you before, you've never talked to anybody about any essay that's ever happened to you, but you won't do it because of not being believed, I would say that, yeah, that's not really like an excuse to not come forward about it. Because once again, it is your personal prerogative to tell somebody. but for the people who's like experienced multiple times, such as myself, seeing that I was young at the time and I told my parents and they didn't believe me. So when it happened to me again, I didn't tell them again because of the fact that they didn't believe or support me. So would that be like a valid reason, or would that still be like my own?
Are you talking about as a child?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about two different things right now.
Okay.
There's a reason, women have a tendency to add children into the equation because 9 times out of 10 it don't happen when they're an adult.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess what I'm saying is, okay, so it did happen to me as a child. I told my parents about it. Then when I was older, I was an adult, and it did happen again. And I didn't tell them about that because of the way they treated me as a child and didn't believe me.
Well, all right, and I'm gonna ask this question straight up. And this is if you claim that it's happened to you before. Who is it most important to notify? Is it most important for your parents?
Yeah, I notified the authorities when.
Yeah, I think the most important population of people to tell, the most important people to tell, are people that can actually do something about it, that can actually hold that person to a standard legally such that they won't commit the crime again, or at least be incentivized not to commit the crime again. So in terms of your parents not believing you, I mean, I would honestly say I could see it from both sides. If it did, if what you're telling me is the truth and it happened, then not being believed the first time had to suck. Not wanting to tell your parents the second time because you weren't believed the first time also has to suck. And I could also understand how maybe from your parents' side, if the first time happened, was there, evidence of it? Was there?
Yeah, there was.
Like actual physical evidence of it?
Yeah.
And your parents just didn't believe it?
Yeah, so when I was a child, I don't want to get super.
You know what? Probably.
Yeah, it was obvious. They had even taken me to the doctor, and the doctor had even told them that they need to make sure there's nothing going on. It was, yeah. I mean, it was.
And then they said,
blatantly ignored it. Yeah.
And then they said, okay, these are the evidence stipulating that this did happen.
Right. So I'm trying to talk about it without getting
Yeah, you know what? Nah, don't just listen.
Yeah, I can't really
I understand. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and I understand. I'm gonna go ahead and do that just because. All right. I'm gonna let Miss Cannon go ahead and set this.
Y'all, can y'all read? We can all read, right? We everybody here is over 18 years old, and we can read English. We can read English. It says warning, trigger warning, no anecdote. Y'all stop coming up here telling y'all personal stories and y'all situations and y'all's traumas. This it's a safe space, but it's not. See, you're gonna tell your story, and then Moses, being who Moses is going to ask questions. And for a lot of people, whenever they're being asked questions, they feel like it's shaming or blaming, but it's just clarification. And so, if you do not have the emotional awareness or capacity or intelligence, even since that's your little buzzword, to understand self, it's not best to come up here and tell your stories, because then it's just going to trigger you further. So let's just not bring up our life stories and just talk about things generally for the general population. Because we're not here to coddle you. There's plenty of therapists, get you one, but we're not them. Moses is actually a life coach. You could hire him and do a little one-on-one thing. This is just being alive. It's not the safest space for you to do that.
I am Moses, and I approve this message.
To do that here. That's all I had to say. Tap the screen. Y'all not tapping the screen. And
it's Cash App looking.
I don't know what the Cash App look like, but go ahead and $, Moses the Prophet 2020.
I'm gonna give him to this next guest to get this up. All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So go ahead and let's hear what you got. What you got on it? It's all love. One.
Yeah.
See what you got.
Hello.
Yeah, what's
Can
going
you hear
on?
me? Yeah. I was saying before you was talking about the law, but we all know that the law doesn't work in everybody's favor. There's a lot of cases where predominantly black people
When it comes to sexual indiscretions and promiscuity, when it comes to sexual wrongdoing or sexual crime, whose favor does the law work in favor of?
Okay, so there was a case where, like even the Bill Cosby case, where 100 women came forward, but in the end, they retracted their statement, and Bill Cosby is now released.
Who does the law work in favor of in society? Typically,
so that's what I'm saying. And then there's cases where a 15-year-old raped a child, and the judge gave him 3 days. So this is so it works for people who have resources.
Hold up. A 15-year-old RAP3 to what?
Infant.
An infant?
18-year-old infant.
Where was this? When did this happen?
When I read about this was in 2020.
Where?
In America. I'm not sure the state.
All right, 18-year-old.
But this is what I'm saying. Okay.
No, hold on. This is what I'm saying. Hold on. Let's find out this 18-year-old. 18-year-old did what?
Raped an infant. But we know cases where the law doesn't work in everybody's favor. And if we know for a fact it doesn't work in every single African American's favor, we know the system doesn't work.
I don't know what case you're talking about, but I don't know of any case where we're
all grown. We know I'm saying we know it doesn't work in predominantly African American or black people's favor all the time. So we know it doesn't work in women's favor all the time too.
No, we don't, is my point. You keep saying we know this, and I'm trying to figure out based upon what? Based upon what?
Okay.
Because the story you're talking about.
Okay. In the Harvey Weinstein's case, yeah, women who did come forward, their career got ruined where they got blackballed. They couldn't even start acting again.
Name the women.
Bro, I don't know their name. I was watching I don't know their name, but this is there. You can go research it, but this is proof.
No, there's no proof is what I'm saying.
There's no proof
that the women you're talking about have lost their careers.
I don't know the lady's name, but I watched the interview where she said she can only start acting now only because other women has came out, but women came before that and got blackballed.
Name them. Who?
Bro, this is dead. I don't know their. Come on, I don't know their name, bro. I don't know their name.
Yeah, I mean, listen, bro. If you were my flatmate, right? I give you a good one of it over the top of the head, yeah.
All right, cool.
Naming anybody.
All right, cool. Let me talk about facts now, yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta name somebody.
All right, cool. All right, cool.
Listen, all the women that came forward about those allegations. I know no women's careers who were great who descended. I only know of the women who, once they told the story or came about it, they ascended in some way, whether it was writing a proclaimed I got RAP3 or whatever else case book, whether it was psych meds for recreational use, whether it was campaign interview deals. All of the women that we know about didn't take a hit at all. I don't know any.
All right, cool.
If you can name one, then I can hear.
All right, cool. You're talking about the law and how it works. If it works, that's cool. But we all know, even within our own family, whoever has the most money often gets to control how the narrative runs in the family, right? And that's kind of how. And let me finish. That's kind of how society runs. Let me give you an example. That case where the policewoman came in and shot that guy. Right in his house, and then there was.
You talking about the Amber Geiger case?
Yeah, and when he went, I think his brother or his son went to court, he said he forgave her. That case, right?
Yeah.
In that case, there was 2 witnesses. The woman did not come because she was getting death threats, and the guy died. Right? In that case, that shows you that when people come forward.
There are no 2 witnesses in that case. No, there's only 1 witness.
I read about that case. There was 2 witnesses.
Okay, you're saying that those 2 witnesses didn't or did come forward. You're talking about 2 witnesses outside of her and him, right?
The two witnesses who was in that apartment who knew what happened, the woman did not come because she was crying and she got death threats. The guy ended up dying. He was supposed to be on witness protection, and they said, oh, he was in a drug deal and he got shot mysteriously before the case came. So I'm saying the law works for who it wants to work for. The way you're explaining
in that case that you just described, who did the law work for?
The law worked in her favor, in the law's favor, in the police favor.
No, it worked in the women's favor. The women lived, the men died. In the case you're talking about, the two witnesses, of those two witnesses, the man died. The woman lived.
In a smaller sense, yes, but the bigger picture would have been.
Not a smaller sense.
I'm saying, look.
Listen what I'm saying though. Wait, but hold on. Listen what I'm saying though. That's not a smaller sense. In a larger sense, the woman, the law was overwhelmingly on the women's side. The police officer woman didn't go to prison for that, right? And the woman that was going to testify possibly lived. The man that was going to testify died, and the man that got, for what I can only describe as murdered by a police officer, he died.
They knew the woman wasn't going to testify because how shooken she was. The guy died because he was going to go ahead with it. But I'm saying, in a smaller sense, I get what you're saying. But in a bigger sense, the reason why they did that is because when people start exposing the law, that's when it becomes an issue. I think people will start trusting the law when law enforcement start exposing themselves. When law enforcement start saying, look, there's some corruption in here, and then they start exposing themselves, that's when people will start trusting them.
Listen, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I will say that when it comes to the law, especially adhesive to sexual violence, sexual crimes, the law is overwhelmingly on women's side.
I think it goes to whoever's in control. That's not true because
and whoever's in control is typically women when it comes to sexual violence crimes.
So in every case, you said it's been fair and it's worked in women's favor.
It's not what I said. What are you hearing?
You said every case works in women's favor.
When did I say that? Are you serious right now?
You said in every single SA case, it works in women's favor. What did you say?
You really heard that?
So what did you say? If I heard it wrong, what did you say?
Hold on. But you really heard that?
If I heard it wrong, what did you say? I'm asking you, what did you say?
I asked you the question, who is the law more in favor of, women or men?
And I said to you, it works on whoever's in control. You just said, no, it mostly works in women's favor. That's what you just said.
Oh, wait, hold on. Now, are you claiming what you just said I said is the same thing that you said I said?
Bro, I'm not doing this.
About a minute ago?
All I said is everything works in.
All right, you ain't got to do it. I know good and damn well I know what I heard. And the first thing you said was, I said, in every case, it works in the woman's favor. Then you said that it mostly works in the women's favor. These two are very much so different statements. And then you're going to say, I'm not doing this like I didn't just hear what I heard. See, yeah, exactly, Meech. A prime example right there of why we should not trust people and why we should not approach all these allegations with this empathy and shit that the people be giving them. It's because of shit like that. Motherfucker can't even remember what they said about somebody literally just half a minute ago. You know, words matter. Thank you, DC. Like, words actually matter. My question was, I know I ain't tripping. Am I bullshitting? My question was, well, my first question to the other chick was, what laws are different in the military than are in commonplace society? I haven't heard no answer to that yet. What laws are different? Are they all different? Because I don't know how the military works in terms of evidence, but I'm assuming I'm lying. I do know because I've actually talked to military personnel. Like you ain't got to be you don't have to be in the military to understand how it works logistically. They prosecute crime the same way. They gather evidence, and then they have a for and against side relative to the defendant and the alleged victim, and then they weigh what did or did not take place based upon what they could accrue as proof. And then they make a decision. That does happen the same way. So, yeah, I was about to say, and even in the military, they go harder. Like, just an inkling of impropriety gets you a harsher punishment than it would if you was in society. And even then, I would say it's usually the men that bear the brunt, the brunt end of that. That's just, I mean, that's just what I've seen. I could be wrong on that. But but let me try this again because I'm gonna try this Chili character again. Y'all don't drop in. Chili, act like you got some sense. So what were we saying? What were you saying though? Let's get back to what you were talking about.
Honestly don't remember my point. All I was saying was that I wanted someone to come up here and make valid points without getting personal or making the anecdotes to support like how they think. Like all
a lot of times
that are saying the opposite, that have an opposing opinion, just like myself. I want someone to come up and share facts and wisdom without sharing their personal story, because
a lot of times people, they have to, in order to humanize and to make people believe their claim on something as broad as this, you have to almost essentially give a personal story, and what we keep hearing is that these people keep coming up here with these personal stories. Then when you just dig a little bit into these personal stories, they just start to sound very odd and flimsy.
But no, that's why I want to stay away from sharing personal stories, because
like, how tall are you, Chili?
The details are irrelevant. The
Like, Chili,
details are irrelevant.
Chili, how tall are you?
I'm 4'11".
4'11". I'm 6'2". I'm just trying to figure out what type of gymnastics I would have to do to get my Johnson to be anywhere near what she described as backside. Like, do you know how far down on the ground I damn near have to squat to get down there to do that?
No, I get that. That's why I was saying that I agree with the part where it said don't tell personal stories, because regardless of, like, that's irrelevant, because I get what she was saying, that wherever his Johnson landed, it was unwarranted.
Here's the funny thing.
Because I'm on the side that even if I came up to you and started groping you for no reason, that also is essay. I don't have like a double standard when it comes to it.
Yeah, see, men, I don't want to call it a double standard. We're just a lot less likely to attach the word assaulted on the back end of something like physical affection. If a woman came up and grabbed my Johnson, would it make me uncomfortable because I don't know her and I just don't appreciate that type of shit, because I know she's taking advantage of a double standard that exists between males and females relative to the law and what she's free enough to do that men probably couldn't? I'd be mad on that side. But to call it assault, nah, I wouldn't. There was no harm done. She didn't break nothing. She didn't hurt me. I'm not peeing blood the next day. So I'm a lot less likely to call it that. So one of the reasons why men and women don't see it the same is because men and women don't ingest situations that happen to their life the same way. Women are dramatic about damn near everything. There's a woman that got mad at a little boy in New York because he had a backpack on and it grazed up against her backside, and he wasn't even facing her, but she said she was going to press charges on an 8-year-old boy, and she was a grown-ass white woman. But that's because that to her, in some way, I know I'm going to be believed by somebody at least. Hopefully it'll be by the person that I'm telling this to that can hold somebody accountable. But also because, in this case, the little boy was black, the grown-ass woman was white. Race does play a part in some things, but at the end of the day, men are a lot less likely to conceptualize these interactions as RAP3 and assault. You know what I'm saying? If you had sex with a woman that you regret the next morning you rolled over and looked at it and damn, that shit was just terrible. You still ain't gonna wake up and be like, you know what, I'm finna go to the police station, tell everybody I got SA'd. Regardless of whether or not you gave your consent on the front end or back end of you being intoxicated. No, the law that you are RAP3'd or a victim if you had sex and you were intoxicated and the other person wasn't is only a law for women. That law doesn't exist for men.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm such an advocate for. That almost contradicts what, like, your argument is that being afraid of not being believed is a poor reason not to speak forward. But you just came up with all the reasons why men don't come forward.
I didn't give any reasons why men don't come forward. That's not the reasons men don't come forward.
You just said that if you felt that you were groped or you felt that it was SA or not SA, regardless of, you said that you're even scared to.
No, I never said anything.
Or not
about
scared, but that you wouldn't label the same things that women label as SA,
right. And so
because
it's not about
of how it is received.
Right. So it's not about me being fearful or whatever. It's about me not even conceptualizing as an assault. We don't view it the same way. Yeah, I'm a lot less likely to go and report it because I don't view it as assault. That's like saying I'm a lot less likely to go and report a car accident if I don't view it as a car accident. Well, if I'm the one that ran into this immovable building and nobody else was involved, I'm a lot less likely to report that shit because there ain't nothing happened to the building and the only thing that's fucked up is my car. I ain't finna get nothing from insurance. So my point is, men are a lot less likely to look at it as that.
But
Perhaps
would you
a
not?
better solution. Go ahead.
Sorry, but would you not agree that when men do get SA'd, they are afraid of coming out? I mean, they are afraid of speaking up because they won't be believed and chastised.
No, not because they won't be believed and be chastised. It's because they know that there's a heteromasculine norm that looks at you like, bruh, were you taken advantage of? We're going to ask those hard underlying questions. And with us, you can't get us with that I'm a victim bullshit. All right, bro, forever resign yourself as being a female if you want to, but you don't get to play victim here until you actually are one. So what took place? How did you get SA'd? And we start hearing this story about how a girl grabbed Joe Johnson and you let it persist or you didn't leave or whatever the case may be. Then we're going to start to realize, oh, you weren't SA'd at all. You allowed this to happen and you just wanted to say that you felt uncomfortable because you felt like there would be some victimhood to gain. Yeah, we don't play that bullshit over here. Dudes don't give you that shit. We're going to find out whether or not this thing took place. And if it did, then all right, fine. We'll hold that person accountable. But if it didn't and you stuck around.
That's the thing. I think that's sad because because as a society, if we're taught to believe women with no evidence, so pretty much we're believing the assault, whether it happened or not, until proven otherwise, then I feel as though we should believe men until proven not.
You could do that, or you could
didn't
not
happen.
or you could not believe anybody until proven so, which is probably out of the three options the best. Let's not believe people wholeheartedly until we know we have some proof. Not let's believe one party, let's believe the other party, or believe both parties. No, none of those are good solutions. The best solution is not to believe anybody until we see proof. And then we believe those people. Do people still deserve to be helped? Sure. Do people deserve to be protected? Sure. But I also think that what we would have more success at doing is not outing RAP3ists, but outing false RAP3 accusers. I believe we have far more of a population of false RAP accusers or false SA accusers than we do RAP3ists and RAs.
And I was never against that statement because I believe women or men, anyone who's making a false accusation, that detrimental need to have consequences.
Yeah. Like Emmett Till, Carolyn Bryan, she still didn't go to prison. Never did. Amber Geiger didn't go to jail. Never did. The chick that's doing this shit with Jonathan Majors. If I was a betting man, she's not going to jail. Never happens when women falsely accuse men.
But I don't support that.
I'm not
support that at all.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that
because whether it's a man or a woman, that changes people's lives.
What I'm saying is I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying that because that's the case, that's what makes this statement true. This statement is true because you all have believed so much. There is no reason to come out. You keep saying, because I'm afraid I won't be believed, and what? Afraid of what exactly? And the most I've gotten to, or the biggest, the closest answer I've heard to a legitimate reason is that people might go into their private lives or sexual history. Well, newsflash, regardless of whether you claim somebody committed a crime when you were not, people have that right anyway. So you coming out with an allegation of something that happened to you ain't gonna stop that from happening. If they want to get in your life, they're just gonna get in your life anyway by getting access to whatever information is public. Now, outside of that, women are damn near wholeheartedly believed. Johnny Depp lost his Disney series before the shit even went to trial. He lost Pirates of the Caribbean before this shit even went to trial. That's how fast women are believed. That's how much women are believed. So to say you won't be believed as a fear of not coming forward, I think is horseshit. I think you're just lying. I think you would rather sit on everybody understanding and believing this heinous thing about some guy that you don't like, because if it were to come out that you were telling a lie about it, then nobody would believe you in the future more than likely, and you'd be seen for the person that you really are now. I think the problem is false accusers. And see, not only that though, but if we start treating it that way, you will have a lot less likelihood of women putting themselves in positions that could put themselves in danger as well. Well, I know if something happened that I really just don't like or was uncomfortable about, then I probably won't be believed, or at least people are going to dig into my story and try to scrutinize and make sure that they get the details and particulars of what took place. And since I don't want to go through that, maybe I won't put myself in a position where I'll have to have one of them stories to begin with. It's like my mom told me, the women that used to tell you about, well, if we outlaw abortion, then women are just going to start using coat hangers and going back out. No, they're not. Yeah, you're going to have a select population of people. Once again, the type of temperament it takes to say, you know what, I'm just not going to get pregnant, versus the type of temperament it takes to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get pregnant. And then if it all comes to it, I'll just abort it in the back alley and possibly put on the line my safety in life as well as my baby's safety in life, just so I can get it out of me with a coat hanger. I think it's very small. That amount of people, it ain't abundant.
Can I ask a question real quick? No, I seen in the comments that it said that I made it personal, but I specifically steered away from that. So did I make the mistake of, did I say something that made it personal? Because they were coming at me in the comments saying that I was...
even my comment section is subject to projection. Some people do that sometimes. Yeah, I ain't
because I tried to be as respectful to the no anecdotes.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you nothing too personal.
Okay.
Zana or Zana or...
It's Xana.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. I just popped in and I saw the prompt.
Mm-hmm.
So the anecdote means no personal stuff like that. Okay. What about a situation where it's somebody who's not in a great financial situation, and the man is somebody who's in power and doesn't get to, and so the woman doesn't really get to have that choice where she's not able to publicly defend herself?
What you just described was pretty much every relationship. Men are overwhelmingly the breadwinners in most intimate relationships that are heterosexual.
No, not just relationships like that, but if it's an older man, younger girl, what about situations like those, like a dad and his daughter?
A dad and his daughter? So now we add an incest into this?
Or stepdad.
I mean, I'm not so sure why y'all like to add incest, but... Okay.
I just want to say that I had an opposing view when I first joined the live, but then when I listened to your story and took everything out of, not story, but when I started listening to your live, I agree with the prompt that being afraid of not being believed is a poor reason, because you should want to fight for belief. If your parents don't believe you, then go take the next step. Go to the authorities. Prove yourself, do the evidence, do everything that you need to do to get your justice.
I understand where that comes from, But in situations where, like, as I've mentioned before, and the mother doesn't want the daughter to come forward because of the certain situations, because she's scared of the man. If the mom is scared of the dad because the dad did something to her daughter and he's in power, what about that situation?
My thing is still, you have to have that uncomfortable conversation and still take it to the authorities and protect yourself and keep yourself safe.
Well, but what age are you referring to? Like, so we got a stepfather in the house. How old is this person, this adolescent, or this child? How old are you talking about?
14.
14?
But from the earlier mod, can we try to keep children out of it?
Yeah, 14 is not a child, so we can 14. So my first question in a situation like that is I'm gonna ask a whole bunch of questions to this 14-year-old. Number one, of course, is gonna be, can you show proof? What things have you shown us to that would lead to a conviction based upon him RAP3? Second thing I'm gonna ask is how does this 14-year-old dress around the house? How does this 14-year-old act around the house? What does this 14-year-old do around the house, around this man? I'm gonna ask all them questions because all those questions are necessary. Do you feel like a 14-year-old can be inappropriate?
I think that any age can be inappropriate, but it also depends on the environment that 14-year-old is in. It depends how the 14-year-old was raised.
Let's say that 14-year-old is in an environment with her mom, and her mom has a new man that's a good, upstanding dude, but that 14-year-old just simply doesn't like that man. Do you think that there are plenty of ways, or do you think that there are plenty of female 14-year-olds that know the primary way in which to get that man out of their lives? Do you think that most 14-year-olds know that?
Yeah, but you're not taking into account that, like, if the 14-year-old were to try and concoct a story to the mother and be like, hey, he's doing something to me, and the mother just simply doesn't want to believe that because she believes the stepdad.
So are we seeing a lot of stories of where the mother just doesn't want to believe it? Or are we seeing a lot of stories where the mother doesn't want to believe it because there has been presented no proof? Which one are we seeing more of?
It's hard for somebody that young to find proof. Or, like, if there is proof, then it's not really.
No, not necessarily. I want to disagree with that.
Well, when we say proof, I guess you say,
because there's a lot of ways to prove it. There's a lot of ways. Trust me.
Yeah.
I would love to know that. The ways.
You could go to the hospital. You could get tests done. There's evidence. There's concrete ways to prove that you're not lying.
Yes.
I mean, the most concrete ways are video, auditory, and physical proof like DNA. Those are the most obvious ways, the three most obvious ways. And it seems that whenever this particular crime is conversed, those are the three things that are always absent when it comes to SA.
Yeah, absolutely. But SA isn't just grape. Unfortunately, that's
our problem. So our problem is now, how do we define what SA is? And what we've discovered is that SA doesn't have a concrete definition.
Yeah, of course. But the whole
is subjectively based on whether or not one person was attracted to another. In other words, Xana, how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18? All right. So at 18, if somebody that's 19 touches you inappropriately, based upon whether or not you like that person, determines whether or not that was SA or not.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, if there wasn't, like, I showed no signs of me being into, like, him or her touching me, I'm not.
That's what I think, and that's my problem with it. That's why I'm calling the phrase "SA dangerous" is a problematic phrase to use. Somebody's Niambi said, "Have you ever been SA'd?" Well, based upon the definition of SA, yes. How you feel now?
I have a question.
Let me stand on that.
Oh, sorry.
How you feel now? So now, Niambi, you asked the question. I'm guessing you was planning on getting the I haven't been from that, but based upon the definition, damn near everybody has. How you feel about that now? Nothing? Right.
What?
Go ahead.
I'm confused.
The question was asked in almost such a fashion as though, well, if you feel now the question is was it severe? Wait, hold on. So now the severity of the essay matters, because if it wasn't, you're actually on jokes. Wait a minute. You see what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't, you're actually on jokes.
What's not fair is that you guys are asking him, was it severe? But then when guys ask that to women, it's like, grab your pitchforks.
But that's the reason this is the reason why I don't take essay seriously. When somebody says they've been essayed, I be like, whatever. That's why I don't take it seriously. When somebody says they've been RAP3'd, all right, now we have a topic of conversation that needs to be discussed. But to say essayed, that can mean so many different fucking things. You don't even know how to quantify it. And by the definition of essay, literally everybody has done it and everybody has been a victim of it. By the definition.
But that led me to my question, is that I think as a society, I better want to understand what is consent and when is it no longer consensual. Because I actually am personally confused about, like, okay, if we're doing something and we're both adults, when is it no longer consensual?
Right. Chili, how old are you?
I'm 23.
So if if you came up with your 23-year-old ass and grabbed my Johnson out in public, the first time, if I say, hey, no, I don't like that, and you don't do it again, by definition of essay, you didn't essay me because you only did it once. You didn't do it anymore. You didn't pursue it. And I showed you that I didn't want it.
I disagree.
Okay, so what's essay then in that case? So you're saying that she did essay me in that case?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if anyone walks up to any random person and they touch up on that person, and this person has no idea how to expect that, and it's not like if they don't have the measure to like take precaution to like try and like get out of the way.
What does that mean?
Like, I'm trying to find words for this, but
you understand, like right now, this is my point. See, it shouldn't be this hard to find out what essay actually means. It shouldn't be this hard. I agree with you. Like, right, you have to find the words to explain this one scenario that may hypothetically happen one day, or maybe already has. But that's still not concrete enough to say this is what the definition of RAP3 is. I'm sorry, of essay is, regardless of circumstance. There is no definition like that.
I think it's any like sexual act.
By definition, it could also be an accident.
But
by definition, it could be an accident.
What is consent? Point blank, period. No gray areas, no nothing. But what is consent? Period. So then I could learn when it becomes non-consensual, I guess.
So somebody said, Overcome Her said, it's simple. You didn't have the permission. Okay, is permission always given verbally?
There's also body language, but you don't know somebody's body language unless you're close and intimate with them.
But that gets too confusing.
Let's say you do know somebody's body language and words. What if it's not written?
Written?
Mm-hmm. What if it's not written consent?
Why would you need written consent?
You need it if you have to enter into a binding contract with anybody in anything else. You need consent. If you're going into business with somebody, if you're going to do something with somebody else, you need written, express form, written consent. I know you've heard many businesses say this to protect themselves. But my point in saying that is that there are multiple forms of consent. Why is it that the verbal consent is the one that matters? Why is not the nonverbal consent and not the written consent the ones that don't?
And verbal consent to me is problematic because it's hearsay. Like,
yeah, you can prove yes or no.
You can't prove that.
Right.
Like, if it's only me and you, right? And you're saying I essayed you because I groped you, this, that, and the third, or I can then say, well, no, it was consensual because he verbally gave me consent.
Right.
And that's why I kind of get confused a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just more of like, it would have to come down to like a whole like trust thing. Like if you trust the other person to not say that like, hey, you essayed me, but I gave my consent.
There are plenty of people that are super naive in this world. So we're just building our law based upon how somebody feels about somebody in that moment at that time in that place, you could do it that way. I think that's extremely dangerous in itself. Because I could like you right now, and I can hate you in 20 minutes. And that can determine whether or not I'm going to make an accusation based upon something that I either did or did not have control of. In this case, alcohol. Because I'm not sure exactly how you tell somebody that they can't consent to sex during being intoxicated, but they could consent to the intoxication itself.
That's why I think it gets too.
How are you grown enough to?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, how are you grown enough? But that's what we're talking about. But that's why I said essay is. This is why I stand on the statement. Being afraid of not being believed is a poor reason not to come forward about essay. I didn't say not RAP3. There's a reason I wrote it that way. It's because I don't consider. You can. RAP3 is a form of essay, but essay is not a form of RAP3. Did I say that right? Did I say that RAP3 is a form of SA, but SA is not a form of RAP3? Right, because there's only one form of RAP3. Right.
I feel like RAP3 is like a subcategory of SA. Like there's so many ways to SA somebody. Like that's just one of them, and it's one of the most severe ways.
I feel like SA is a subcategory of RAP3 so as to broaden the definition of RAP3. I understand what you're saying. We agree. I'm just saying it a different way. Just backwards, just because I feel like really the subgroup is SA. RAP3, everybody knows what that means. You were either forced to penetrate or you were forced to be penetrated. Which oddly enough, even in the definition of RAP3, it doesn't recognize the ability for men to be so. And be forced to penetrate just sounds so much more of a lesser crime than RAP3. But that aside, regardless of how it sounds, they don't carry the same weight, if I'm not mistaken. And when it comes to assault, that's a ridiculous word to use for most sexual or most encounters, period, between men and women. And the reason I'm saying that is because if we look at the definition of assault, right? The definition of assault is making a physical attack on. Now, even if a man goes up to a woman and grabs her boob in public, I'm a little less inclined to call that an attack. Sexually inappropriate? Absolutely. If a woman grows up and grabs a dude's Johnson, I'm a lot less likely to call that an attack. Inappropriate? Absolutely. But an attack? It didn't bring any physical harm. I'm not sure I want to call that an attack. But we have a tendency to strengthen and soften words based upon the sex of the party. And with that being said, a physical attack, a concerted attempt to do something demanding. Okay, so even if you're going to talk about groping somebody, is that an asserted attempt to do something demanding? What are you demanding from somebody? What, that they accept it? Is that the demand? I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm these two words running together just sound only like RAP3 and nothing else. Very, very little else what I say kind of falls in that category. Fluke kind of things. Those movies where you watch where it'd be like four dudes and they see a woman walking down this dark alley, which I don't know why the fuck she even be doing that. And then, hey, what's up, mama? Hey, looking nice, looking sweet, looking hot. Like, this is how every time I hear an essay story come out, this is how it sounds to me. Like, it always sounds like one of these type of stories, like it happened in a movie or some shit. Yeah, what time, got the time? Yeah, looking hot, baby. Yeah, Jack, she's hot, man. That's what it sounds like every time I hear these damn stories. And then when I get to the root of them, it's not some man took sex from me. It's always, I did something or something took place or something just don't make sense in every one of these stories. I'm just saying that's how it sounds. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but that's what it sounds like. And I just don't. Yeah, like go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I understand like where you're coming from. Like that is like a lot of like the stereotypical like moments in movies where it's just like lonely girl walking around and then she gets catcalled to a point where it's kind of like they start acting on that. but it's not always that like kind of thing, and so that's
Like,
kind of
like
hard
if you
to
had
just.
to, if you had to like,
They're calling technically also SA, just out of curiosity.
I'm sorry, what? Say it again.
Curiosity, catcalling considered SA?
Yeah, like there's some.
Because
I'm not
that's
gonna
where
say
it gets
everybody,
like,
but
that's where it makes it harder for the women who've actually been RAP3'd and SA'd
there are
because you're
there
making
are
it too broad.
yeah, that's my issue with. There are people that consider some of the most outlandish shit to be SA, not realizing that them considering it to be so is them being SAers themselves.
But the consideration of that is detrimental to the people who are actually going through SA
Yeah,
and
that's the worst part, right? Like,
RAP3.
right.
I think that that's more like harassment, like sexual harassment, more than
All right,
like
so
SA. It's like a
okay, see, so
verbal.
I'm with you on that. Like, I consider harassment to be verbal.
Yeah, exactly. And catcalling is verbal. So.
Assault is physical, and I think where I draw the line with assault is once a person has been harmed.
Yeah. Or I would say that's like more once you get to be touched. To an extent, of course.
Because like, all right, so if I'm walking past you, Zana, I can't remember your name. How you say it?
Zana?
Yeah, if I walk past you and I brush up against you accidentally and it just happens to hit your boob or something, that's assault now?
No, it's not like that. Like it's an intentional like touch to make somebody uncomfortable.
Okay, see, there it is right there. See, you said intentional. And so now we have to get into how we establish intent. And at the end of the day, I mean, you can't prove intent was present. You can establish intent. In other words, convince to a large enough degree a population of people that intent was had because A, B, and C took place. But how do you ever prove the intent of somebody? How do you do that?
I feel like there could be a few ways. Like it depends. Like cameras. Like if you're like let's say like a group of girls was like joking with each other, and then they say, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna go do this to this guy," because they see him over there, and then they walk up to the guy and they like grab his Johnson, and then they run back and are like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Or like, have you seen the movie Billy Madison?
Yeah, I can't remember it too well. It was a long time ago.
There's a joke where the kids
with Adam Sandler, right?
Pardon?
With Adam Sandler, right?
Yeah, there's like this scene on the bus where like the group of kids, they're like daring Billy to go touch the teacher's boob, and so then he goes up and he like falls on it, but then all the kids know that was like in fact intentional and he meant to grab her boob.
Right.
Yeah. So like it's just like.
I guess the problem I have with
how do you establish intent? Like, how can you prove that?
Right, you can't.
How can you prove intent?
I think that's my biggest issue with the whole SA thing, is a lot of SA, or the definition of SA, is it's established around intent, something that you can't prove. You know what I'm saying? Well, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't cases where somebody just go up and start touching and grabbing on somebody inappropriately. I think that happens most of the time where signals are already mixed to begin with, right? For example, a club. Most dudes aren't going to think they just can't walk up and put their Johnson on a girl ass in the club. Why? Because them types of shenanigans is what take place. People dance inside of clubs, and one of the ways we dance nowadays is for dudes to walk up and put their Johnson on that ass. I don't know why. I can't give you these answers, ladies. I can tell you that a lot of time this shit look good, so sometimes we just run up in there, you know, and hopefully she don't turn around. That'll ensure that we keep dancing. That'll let us know how drunk she is, and if she do turn around, that'll let us know that she either isn't drunk or she is drunk. She just want to make sure that she dancing with the motherfucker she want to be dancing with. All this shit too confusing for us. And this is why men have decided, you know what, let's just stay away from women entirely.
I've never been to the club, so I have like no option on that. No opinion on that, I mean.
Wait, say that again? You never what?
I've never been to the club, so I don't have like an opinion on that.
You've never been
My
to the
boyfriend wants to take me
club?
there. No, I haven't. I'm waiting. I'm excited though, but I'm gonna go with my boyfriend. So
Remember,
that
Xana's
situation
18.
doesn't happen.
Listen, I just want to let you know before you go, it's not all it's cracked out to be. All right?
I don't know. I'm not super excited to be honest.
Hey,
But that
shit.
brought me from earlier is that
Make sure you take yourself. Don't go with nobody else. That way, when you're ready to go, you can go. Because I ain't going to lie to you, this shit's whack. Drink responsibly, which for you means not at all because you're 18.
I'm Canadian, so I can drink here legally.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Loose, fellas. Fellas, look out. Any male between the ages of 18 and 36.
What?
no, that was my question from
She's
earlier.
being let out of the house. She has felt her sexual liberation, and she's about to go out on the night on the town. Ladies and
Moses, that
gentlemen,
was
get
my
off the streets.
question from earlier that I wanted to touch on is like, I don't get, how do I word this without like, oh my gosh, I can see they're going to come for me in the comments. When does someone go from being drunk and having fun to crossing the line of being out of their mind, and how are others supposed to know that
Right.
if they don't know that person?
There you go. That's a good question.
Because and I'm speaking from experience because I've gone out sometimes and I'm very blessed to have made it home a few times and have been wasted out of my mind. And other people never knew. So
I feel like me personally, like I had some friends over or some coworkers over, and we had like a little get together sort of thing, and they knew that I was over the line because I was just grabbing the bottle and chugging that down, or when they're like aggressively handing me water.
Danny, you were
That's
getting
like-
white girl wasted?
Yeah.
You're so white girl. You sound like a white girl. Get
Well,
white
I am
girl
white
my
wasted.
thing is, no, Meech, I was saying I know my limit, but the problem that I have is that others don't know my limit. So I may be presenting as, oh, I'm perfectly fine,
Yeah, but how does
but
everybody
then
else
I'm out of my sound mind. So that's the issue I have with like where I'm confused about, like where consent gets confusing in a way, because how is someone who doesn't know me supposed to know that I'm not in the right mind to give consent?
Right. How do I know that this person? Because you know, this is what she's really saying. We always acting like drunk is only blackout drunk. Like there aren't so many other variations of drunk before blackout. You know,
Yeah.
the happy drunk, the upset drunk, the confused drunk. There's plenty of them. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now. The confused drunks, they don't know what the hell they be doing. They just do all types of
Don't forget the exploring drunk.
In the
Oh, the
comments,
exploring drunk, the motherfucker we can never find when it's time to go. Where is Xana? Xana out there in the streets being the
Hyping up some girl in the
the point I
bedroom.
was trying to make,
She's
PS, is that
McNally.
if I wake up with a stranger and they didn't know that I was over my limit, how can I then claim
Right.
SA?
Right.
It's almost unfair
Right, and
to
that is-
them because they don't know me, and others should not be held accountable for
That's the question. That's the question. That's the question.
I think it's
me being
I
over
think
the
it's-
limit.
like I think it's for like me personally, like I believe that once I can't actually give my like verbal consent, or like I'm kind of going in and out of it, then that's kind of like, oh, this person isn't like there. Like I've come home from karaoke, I do that stuff, and my
You see how
boyfriend
you see, Xana, see how you said right there though, it's about the verbal consent. Let's just get right down to it though. It's about the verbal. Let's say that you can verbally consent to sex. Oh, excuse me, hold on.
See, but then the issue that I have is that you guys are saying that the law states that once alcohol is involved, consent cannot be given at all. I kind of don't agree with that. I mean, I agree with. I don't want anyone to demonize me in these comments.
no, don't worry about the comments. You're good.
All I'm saying is, you know, if you don't know, you know, here's the other thing. I got a question, because this is what I want to ask. This is where I really want to know. Do we really want to take the freedom away from drunk people to have some of their own rights as well? I know that sounds...
Okay, that's what I was trying to say.
I know that sounds crazy to say, right?
Because you guys are saying that because I've had a drink or two, I can no longer consent to having fun with another grown adult. It's crazy to
Can you
me.
imagine how pissed off you are at the end of the night when you've had your drinks and you're nice and everything? You want to go home? God, I just want to have some sex. God, right? And then you go home, you pick up the phone, you call that dude that you like that you met, or you call that girl that you like that you met, and they don't fucking answer the phone and say, hey, I can't have sex with you tonight though